Let's go!
You are now watching 14A Sports on 15MOFE.com.
Oh, welcome back to the 14A Sports Radio Show.
Are you ready for some football?
Oh, yeah.
Hank Williams Jr.?
All right, our guest right now is Kevin Epstein. You can follow him on Twitter at FFootballGeek. And also make sure you check out his website, fantasyfootballadvisor.net. Everybody welcome Kevin Epstein to the table. How are you?
What's up, Kev?
Kev?
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, what's going on, Kev?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, you got it. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for joining us.
All right.
All right, so, fantasy football season is upon us. We are all very excited, as I'm sure you are. You have a lot of great stuff on the website. We'll get into that in a little bit. But, let's start breaking some of these positions down right now. I like to look at the running back position as it's going to be more of a committee type deal this season. How do you feel about the running back position?
Well, with the running back position, what we're really looking for is any situation where it's not a committee.
Right.
So, the way the NFL has gone, a lot of the teams are going running back by committee, and we'll talk about, a few of those teams and some of the ones where, both of the guys might be actually viable. Mm-hmm. But what we're looking for really is we're trying to get those guys who are three-down guys who are going to get all the touches, 20, 25 touches a game. So that's really,
It's really a handful of guys,
kind of yeah, it's a theme of the season. It's one of the reasons why you're going to see in most drafts, at least 8 or 9 running backs going off the board in the first round.
Yeah, absolutely. So, off the top of your head, so you're going AP, Foster, Doug Martin? Is that your top 3? Would you agree with that?
You could spread around. AP is the consensus number 1 guy. If you have the first pick and you don't take him, expect to be ridiculed.
That's really good.
And deservedly so. Outside of that, 2, 3, and 4, you're looking at guys like Foster, Jamal Charles, Dougie Martin, who I like a lot.
Yeah, baby.
I like Martin as my number 2 guy this season. To be honest with you, I'm taking him second. You're looking at guys like C.J. Spiller coming up there, Marshawn Lynch.
Let's go back to Spiller real quick. What do you think Fred Jackson's role in that offense is going to be? Do you feel he takes away touches from Spiller? You consider him a featured back, like we were just discussing?
Last year you had sort of going into the season this running back by committee deal going on in Buffalo. That's really not what we're looking for this year. If Jackson's coming off an injury, he's old. By running back, he's got to be 33 years old. My goodness, time to retire.
Yeah, that's ancient running back years, absolutely.
Yeah. And especially with Fred Jackson last year, he had that week 1 against the Jets last year. It looked like he was going to be done for the career. And then he ends up popping up back in the season. Very interesting.
Jackson's a great guy. You like him as a person. But really,
I don't like him as a person.
I don't give a shit about him as a person.
Score me some touchdowns. Otherwise, I don't care.
But as far as football goes, now he's finished. So we don't expect. I want to look for him to really take any kind of carries away from CJ. CJ's absolutely, a 3-down workhorse kind of guy. You'd love to have him as your first running back this year.
Absolutely. So, how about the second tier? We'll call it the second tier if you have those guys in your top 4. How about the second tier running backs? We're talking about the Ray Rices, the Marshawn Lynches, the LaShawn McCoys, Alfred Morris, Trent Richardson. How do you slot those guys in?
There we go. So every one of those guys has a flaw, a minor flaw that just takes them out of that ultimate elite category. You're looking at a guy like LaShawn McCoy had a tough year last year.
Right.
He's got a guy named Bryce Brown coming up behind him as a sort of a 1-2 punch. But interesting when we're talking about the Eagles, new offensive system. You got a new coach, Chip Kelly, who's all about the run. Right. So it's kind of mysterious this year. He's going to be either really surprising to the upside or just another just okay season. But I definitely like McCoy. You got a guy like Ray Rice in that second tier, same deal. He's kind of starting to share some carries over there.
Yeah, you got Bernard Pierce. Yeah.
Exactly. And Pierce looked really good last year. He's taken a lot of, 10 or 15 touches a game. So, Ray Rice falls out of that top 3 category. Still happy to get him at the end of the first round. Same thing, Freddie Morris doesn't get much catches. So PPR, you give him a big minus, but the guy was great last season. You're going to get him at the end of the first round, beginning of the second round, and he's a guy you think who can anchor your team.
Now, I know that, the goal here is to not, go with those handcuffs. Off the top of my head, I look at Cincinnati. That's probably a safe, thing where you should probably have the law firm and, Giovanni Bernard there. Any other teams that, you should definitely make sure you get their backup?
Actually, I'd like to speak on Bernard real quick. He's a pass catcher out of the backfield. What do you think about Bernard? I think he's going to catch. That's why they drafted him first. He catches a ton of passes out of the backfield.
I got to tell you, law firm, Ben Jarvis, not an exciting player. I like Giovanni Bernard this year. Better than the law firm. I would draft him ahead of him. And I haven't, I would expect Bernard was the number one running back off the draft board this season. So I'm expecting Giovanni Bernard to take over as the primary 60-70% of the carries guy. Not a guy that you want in the first 3 or 4 rounds, but, down towards that 6-7, looking for a flexy kind of guy, maybe a backup, somebody like that to stash and hope for later. Definitely like Bernard, like him more than Ben Jarvis this season. And the other one I want to talk about, my favorite running back tandem this season, and 2 guys that I think are going to be fantasy relevant, second guys that you could start all year.
All right, hold on. Anyone got a guess? Anyone got a guess on what he's going to say? How about David Wilson and Brown for the Giants?
Well, those are one of my pairings.
Okay.
That's not what I was referring to. But
go ahead. Who do you got? No, go ahead. Say yours. That was my guess.
I'm talking Ridley and Vereen over.
Yeah, I love Shane Vereen this year because I heard they're going to use him more as a pass catching. He's going to take over for Danny Woodhead.
Something happened to the tight end, I heard.
Not so tight.
Danny Woodhead had 40 receptions last year, had a bunch of runs. Vereen is a more talented guy. Brady has no targets over there. You got Amendola and. I mean, I can't even name another.
Dobson in the rookie.
Team.
Yeah,
he's lost everything this year.
Yeah, they Dobson apparently might be the sleeper from what I was hearing myself. By the way, my name is Mike McCord. Wall Street decided to not introduce me for this segment.
Way to get in the mix, Mikey.
Thank you.
That's all right. So let's go on with New England right now. Obviously a lot of new pieces going to be in there this year. Tom Brady seems to be dropping down the rankings right now. How do you see that?
Well, you're right. I mean, you lose all your wide receivers, and you just can't expect the same kind of production out of Tom Brady that we've been seeing, this 40 touchdown passes a year. I think is not something we're going to expect this season. So what you want to do, Brady's still a great quarterback, one of the best. I mean, I'm a Jets fan, hate Brady, but as an opponent.
You probably hate Sanchez more, though, no?
Oh, man, Sanchez, don't even say that. Sanchez just, man, he needs to get his head out of Brandon Moore's ass.
So he's not high on your board, huh?
Worst of the worst, and nothing will beat it. Let me tell you.
Well, did you see his ass on Vine with Dance with Those Chicks?
Yeah, at least the man knows how to party.
That's got to be encouraging for you.
That ain't gonna get you any fantasy points, though.
I think Sanchez is a little more busy with the ladies right now than really worrying about his career. I think he's done. Just a guy that you don't want. But I mean, getting back to Brady, he's still a top 10 quarterback.
Yep.
But you expect a drop off, so he starts to fall below some other guys that you might surprise you, like a Colin Kaepernick. You might take ahead of him.
Really?
You might be looking at guys like Matt Ryan ahead of him, or right in that middle zone of quarterback. But you're not taking Brady in the first round like last season.
Now, keeping on with that theme with the quarterbacks and stuff like that. If you see Brady drop into probably like the 4th or 5th round, I mean, there's a lot of depth at the quarterback position that we probably haven't seen in fantasy
for a long time,
ever.
Actually,
in that case, So, what's a good bargain quarterback we could be looking for, maybe in like the 6th or 7th round?
And to speak on that, Kev, you wrote an article I saw on your site. What's your strategy going into the draft about quarterbacks? How do you approach that?
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for reading it. But yes,
of course, buddy. You're on my radio show.
Hey, we do our research.
The strategy for this year, I'm going to say the theme of this season is wait on a quarterback. there's no reason to grab one early. So when you have guys like Tony Romo, who passed for 4,000 yards last season, going as the 12th pick, 12th quarterback pick, somewhere in the 7th, 8th, 9th round, you don't have to take one. You don't have to sacrifice your flex position to grab, a Matt Ryan or a Tom Brady in the 3rd, 4th round. You can wait. So you're going to get that depth on your team. So it's absolutely been my strategy with all of my drafts so far. Is I'm getting guys like Andy Luck. I'm getting guys like Russell Wilson, Tony Romo, starting them. Let the other guy take Drew Brees and Rodgers in the 1st, 2nd round. I'll take an extra, top-notch wide receiver, flex player, something like that, because the difference in points total between a guy like Brady and a guy like Wilson might be nothing.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make sense, really, unless you're going to get a Drew Brees maybe in the 3rd round. It's tough to pass it up. Maybe a Cam Newton in the 4th. Outside of that, I'm waiting until the 6th, 7th, 8th round.
Yeah, I think. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm saying I'm comfortable even going into the season with Romo, who in a 12-team league, that means you're the last guy taking a quarterback. You took an advantage over everybody else when you did it.
Yeah, definitely. And we had David James. He does a lot of predicting with the NFL. LivePredictor.com. One of our great guests that we had on the show. He likes a lot of production out of the Cowboys as a whole, as a team. And definitely if Tony Romo is the 12th quarterback taken off the board, I think you're going to be extremely happy with that.
He's always going to give you 3,000 or better yards, 25 touchdowns. I mean, he gives you the numbers.
He's going to cough it up in crunch time, but that doesn't matter about fantasy.
He gives you the fantasy numbers.
Thank God I don't do week 17 on my fantasy.
The whole
Kev.
Cowboys team, I was going to say, with Romo, Des Bryant really emerged last season as a superstar. Des is he looks like a top of the 2nd round, really the 2nd or 3rd wide receiver off the board this year. Romo, when he has a target like that, you got Miles Austin, who's relevant. And really the biggest question mark for me with the Cowboys is going to be DeMarco Murray and his health.
Rich was saying that earlier.
He's got to stay healthy.
Rich is a big Cowboy fan. Rich, you were saying that earlier.
Yeah, I like Des Bryant a lot, though. So.
He's how that offense runs, though. I mean, you could see the difference. When Murray's hurt, the offense is totally different. It becomes stagnant. They can't score. It goes through him.
Well, I just see Des Bryant step up. He's got great hands. I mean, that's
somebody's got to keep his head on his shoulders.
Nice.
Nice. Super athletic. But DeMarco,
he is athletic, though.
DeMarco Murray, Darren McFadden, those type of backs. Kev, where are we looking to grab those, if at all? You're probably looking to stay away for the injury risk, but where we feel comfortable taking DeMarco Murray, DeMarco Murray and Darren McFadden in a 12-team league?
That's a great question. I mean, the injury.
That's why they gave me the show.
The injury possibility is there. So what we're looking, what you want to do with a Murray, sort of a high upside but high risk guy like that, you're looking in the 4th round for DeMarco Murray. You're happy to get him there. When he's in the game, he's a RB1. I mean, this is a guy who is your workhorse back, your number 1 guy when he's in there. But you run the same thing with McFadden. Both of these guys, when they're in there, they are talented guys. McFadden, I don't love his team that much, but he has a lot more talent. Murray has a combo. He's a talented guy on a high-scoring offense, exactly what you want, but they get injured a lot, so you don't really want to spend an early pick on on guys like that. And I caution in that same area, you see guys like San Diego, Ryan Matthews.
Oh,
boy. He's brutal. That collarbone, huh? He came in there last year with the collarbone, and he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything.
Matthews broke more collarbones last season than he scored touchdowns.
Hey, Kev, you were just funny, buddy.
I did it.
Well done.
They call me the one-line king.
All right, we were talking about Des Bryant earlier. Let's touch a little bit on the wide receivers right now. In my eyes, I don't see the abundance of wide receivers that we saw last season. Last season, I felt like you can get a really good wide receiver as your number 3 in maybe like the 10th round or something like that. Am I crazy, or is that how it's going?
Kev, I think he's crazy. What do you think?
It's interesting how the wide receiver position went because you got a lot of aging guys this year. So I think it's really strong at the top. And then you have sort of a muddled middle, and then you're going to get some surprises at the end. Towards that wide receiver 3 position. Guys like when you're looking at the bottom end of that list, you're talking about guys like Jeremy Maclin, Miles Austin. Guys that have been good, but they kind of sucked last year a little bit, and so you're not sure. But some changes. Maybe they're healthier this year.
Right.
I think the big story with the wide receivers is, just the strength at the top and then the sort of middle muddled area with aging sort of former superstars with big names like Andre Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, he's getting kind of old. Andre Johnson. Johnson. He's kind of old now. He had a great year. Got inconsistent guys like Vincent Jackson in the middle of that group there. But at the top, between your Dez Bryants and your A.J. Greens, and you really want to get one of those top guys. I like Cobb over at Green Bay. You can get him usually in the third round.
Yeah.
Yep.
Amendola, if he stays healthy.
You like Amendola?
I'm not an Amendola guy. I would stay away from him. That's just me.
He's hurt too many owners in the past with all those injury problems. But new team. He's not in such a hard hit 'em division this year. So I don't know. Maybe we could see some different things from him.
He's one of those risky guys. I mean, if he stays healthy, you're talking about 120 catches. You're looking at an epic season. No one else for Brady to throw to.
Yeah.
Taking sort of that Wes Welker role, and I think Amendola, talent-wise, I might put him even a step above Wes Welker as far as his actual talent. But I mean, he's pretty brittle, so he's not the guy you really want to rely on as your first wide receiver. But maybe if you can get him as a second, as a wide receiver 2, or if you're in a PPR league and those receptions count for points, I mean, you might want to take that risk.
Interesting. How about we talk about Denver, right? You have Peyton Manning. I think last year he was a huge unknown going into fantasy drafts. Everyone thought maybe he gets one shot in the neck. He get one blindside hit. He's going to be done. I was in a draft. He went into the 7th round. Peyton Manning. What an absolute steal. People were afraid of him. Now he showed he's still Peyton Manning.
And the weapons he has around him.
Right.
Wow.
Now he has those weapons. Thomas Decker, Tammy at the tight end, and now they had Welker. What do you see? What do you see out of Denver, Peyton Manning, and wide receiver wise? And also, how about the backfield battle in Denver with Hillman and Monty Ball? Break us down on Denver a little bit, Kev.
Absolutely. Guilty as charged. By the way, I was one of those guys that was sort of a Peyton skeptic last season. Definitely proved wrong.
Hey, we like people that admit their faults, buddy.
We're working on doing that ourselves.
It's all we're just doing our best to guess with this stuff. So you never know. Right. But what changed the dynamic in Denver this season is obviously bringing in Wes Welker. How's he going to fit in with Demaryius Thomas and Eric Decker? How is Peyton really? Where are these balls going? Who's going to get these catches?
Right.
So all three guys. You got to give them a little bit of a downgrade.
You downgrade all 3 of them across the board because of Welker. I guess especially in a PPR league.
There's not enough balls to go around. Like you always say, you build these superstar teams, and then what do you do?
Yeah. And then you see a lot of problems with Denver too. Yes, they're going to throw the ball. We see that happening. I like Ronnie Hillman this year. I do. I know he had some injury problems in his rookie year, but I don't think Monty Ball is that answer at running back. I think that Ronnie Hillman's going to get you some catches and be your long gain yard back out of the backfield.
Okay. Kev, what do you think?
You got Monty Ball going off the draft board somewhere in the 4th round, just after DeMarco Murray and McFadden and those guys. I got to tell you, he is being overdrafted. He's a guy that you really want to stay away from. I'm going to tell you why. John Fox is known for not trusting rookie running backs. Tack onto that Peyton Manning, who is also known for not dealing with anybody who can't block. And so you've got a combination over there.
Just real quick, that's David Wilson last year. Coughlin doesn't deal with rookie running backs. Eli doesn't deal with anyone that can't pick up the blitz. Same exact thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wilson, what happened to him? He sat on the bench for a while. He's a talented guy. I see a scenario like that. I think a lot of people who drafted Monty Ball as a starting player, a flex player, are probably in for a bad season. That's not going to be a pick that's worth taking a risk on.
I agree.
I actually like Sean Marino. I don't like him, but chances are right now it looks like he's the starter. So you don't know what's going to happen over there. I'd probably stay away from the
Hold
running
on.
game.
He had a decent year.
Hold on. Quick little thing. I met a girl this week.
Oh God, I see where this is going.
She's from Middletown, so is No Sean, and she actually lost her virginity to No Sean. I swear to God, she told me that story this week.
Classy broad you met, like usual.
We should get her on the show.
No, he already destroyed that.
No, it was all downhill after No Sean. Talking about the tri-state tripod.
Wait, how'd that work out for you, though?
No, I was with her friend. She was just telling me the story.
Yeah, you don't want to lose. You don't want to hook up with somebody that lost their virginity to an NFL running back. You're going to seem like nothing.
I'm not in the Brooklyn contest, but I can't compete with No Sean. All right, back on topic.
Real quick, how about Le'Veon Bell out of Pittsburgh? What do you see going on with him?
Le'Veon is my favorite rookie player.
Hold on, real quick. Correct me if I kind of see the next Doug Martin out of Le'Veon Bell. What do you think?
He's got all that potential. I mean, he's a three-down guy. He is a beast. I mean, I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, he reminds me a little bit of almost a Marshawn Lynch type player, but he can catch. So it's tough to really.
You think he's that
I
good?
haven't seen him play enough to really come up with a comparison, but basically he's known for barreling guys over.
Yeah.
And he's got some wiggle. He can catch the ball.
I'll tell you
and
what,
the Steelers have nothing.
At Michigan State, he didn't have a great year. He came into the season hyped up. I guess that team wasn't that good, but he didn't have a great year.
Well, I tell you what, out of Bell, one of the stats that I saw, he led all the FCS conferences in yards after contact. You know, and that's something. And the Steelers are a tough team, you know, and that's something that I like to see out of that. So, you know, hopefully that can translate into the NFL.
I like that Bruce and run style.
I've heard people call him Jerome Bettis with hands.
Really?
That's exactly what he is.
That's a big
he
compliment.
Catch the ball, but he's Pittsburgh Steeler material. They're going to love him over there. I mean, this is a guy who does not go down. He lowers the shoulder, and he keeps it, just like you said, yards after contact.
Yep.
He's going to be a guy that I think is going to make a lot of people's seasons. I have him in almost all of my drafts because he falls down to the fourth round.
Yeah.
I have him in almost all of my leagues.
Yeah, usually when it gets to that point, because I do mock drafts too, and yeah, it's either him or Monte Ball that you have a shot at, and they fall right around the same track.
Yeah.
Kev, let me ask you this real quick. Talking about draft strategy, and not that you get to pick your draft position, but in this year's draft, what do you think is the ideal position to be in, and why? Where do you like being in the drafts if you could choose?
You know, that's always a tough call. You know, it's kind of a personal preference. I don't think there's any advantage this season in being number 1 or number 10. I kind of like the middle of the first round, maybe that number 4 spot, number 5, where I'm maybe making a decision between, do I want to go Calvin Johnson here, or am I grabbing hopefully a Jamal Charles or a Doug Martin type player?
That's true.
I like Jamal Charles a lot this year with the Andy Reid offense. You know, the upgraded quarterback with Alex Smith. You know, they got a couple weapons on the outside. I like Jamal Charles a lot.
I like being at 1 or 12 because then I don't have to get up, you know, when I'm done drinking my beer and put the stickers up. That's just me.
No,
You could knock out your 2 picks and just wait the next
exactly.
30 minutes.
Some dress like an hour,
Getting up after about an hour.
Go eat a couple slices of pizza or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the Chiefs, by the way, I like Dwayne Bowe this season, too.
Really?
He bounced back from last year with a real quarterback. Andy Reid loves to throw the ball. There's no other wide receivers in Kansas City. So Dwayne Bowe last season kind of dropped down to flex wide receiver 3 type status. I think he jumps up and he becomes a sort of a solid low-end first WR1 type player.
Well, let me ask you a question. And if Dwayne Bowe's like the only receiver in Kansas City, wouldn't you like back off? Maybe you figure like secondaries will probably double team him. Like I really don't see Dwayne Bowe like me personally. You know, watching football, I just can't see Dwayne Bowe having a good season.
It's tough because how can you judge it? I mean, last season got Matt Castle throwing to him, and a bunch of scrub no names. Dwayne Bowe is a talented guy. He's been a top wide receiver just a couple of years ago. So I think I'm not sure how good Alex Smith is. We'll see.
That's my point. That's what scares me about
Andy
Dwayne
Reid's
Bowe.
a real offensive coach, though, and he's done a lot with a lot less in Philly.
Well, I like McNabb over Alex Smith.
But receiver-wise,
well, for Christ's sake.
Oh, that's my point.
On.
No, but that's my point. Though.
I like
that's
steak over cat food.
Well, no.
I mean, Jesus, what kind of comparison is that?
Oh, boy. All right.
Not that I'm eating cat food.
Kev, we thank you for being on tonight. We look forward to having you on throughout the rest of the season. In the weeks leading up to the draft, we'll probably, have you call in. We'll break down the positions individually, and and during the season we'll have a lot of good stuff going on.
Hey, Kev, you were great, buddy. Thanks for
definitely. Great interview. Great
we'll
interview.
Talk to you during the week here.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, and I'm happy to come around anytime and talk fantasy football.
All right, awesome. Thanks.
One time, shout out his website real quick.
Yes, definitely will. All right, that is Kevin Epstein. You could follow him on Twitter at FFootballGeek. That's on Twitter.
He's not so much of a geek, though.
No, not at all. Cool guy.
I'll tell you, he knows his stuff, man.
No,
he
does,
absolutely does.
And also check out that website, fantasyfootballadvisor.net. That's where you want to check
That's a good
him out.
site. Yeah, I was on it last night.
Yeah. We're going to have a call up here in a while. We had a guy call in like 4 times, but if we took that call, then we weren't going to...
Who was it?
I don't know, 773 number. So out of the range, yeah. I have no idea.
So are we waiting for this call?
Yeah, I just talked about, we can break down a little bit of what he was saying. Very interesting
More
stuff.
More fantasy talk. I like it.
Sure, let's do it.
All right, so where are we starting?
I guess we start with Denver. I mean, that's pretty interesting with the situation.
Yeah, we just went through Denver. Well, I'll tell you what. I have Demaryius Thomas as my keeper. I'm keeping it for 10th. I actually consulted with my boy Epstein, and he concurred.
Oh, he's your boy now?
Everybody's my boy until you get. No, I'm not going to say that. Here we go.
There we go.
That was awkward.
All right, who is it? Yeah, I agree.
15 minutes of fame. Let's go. You are